Hello and welcome to Saturday Night Crafting. I hope you're all having a fantastic week. We've had a bonkers hot week where we've had record breaking hot weather. As you can see in beautiful rainy UK, all our grass is dead. So it's been hot. We have made the most of our swimming pool. It has been such a godsend. We feel so blessed to have this pool. We spent the whole entire time having people around every day and being in the pool cooling off. But our poor workmen, they cracked on and carried on with our loft conversions. So you can see we've got some dormers up. And we actually have some Velux windows in now. You can see the Velux windows here. So we're really excited. I'm hoping my office will be up in that loft when it's finished. And then, of course, I've been gardening. So lots of busy stuff this week. Now, getting down to some fun stuff. We've got a winner from the Craft Stash giveaway. So I have put a little screenshot of the winner here on the screen, so if Emma can get in touch with Craft Stash, that would be fantastic. You can claim your prize from them. Now on to the fun stuff for everyone. We are going to make some really quick and easy backgrounds that look really detailed and complicated, but are actually very simple and fun to put together. So to make my card, I've got a top folding note card, which is in a sort of dark plum color. And then I've gone and picked a lighter color to be a panel on the top. So my panel is just as long as my card base, but I've got 1 centimeter on each side gap. I'm going to use, for the first version, I'm going to use an embossing folder. This is new in my stash. I will link everything I can down below. I'm not sure if you can get the punches or not. If you have not got hole punches, you can use dies. If you don't have dies, then you can always do the classic trace something circular and cut it out with a pair of scissors. So lots of options, really easy to do. So I've embossed my sheet of cardstock, so I've got some texture. And I'm going to use this flower punch, which I think is from We Are Memory Keepers. I will do my best to find it and put it down below. I think it came in a set of 3. And all I'm going to do is take my embossed piece of card and I'm just going to punch it out. Now, the more intricate and tiny your embossing pattern, the better this will show up. It'll be more detailed on your smaller punched out pieces. And I'm using punches today because I find die cutting that many pieces really irritating and annoying. So I like to use my punches for things like this. So I'm going for a tone-on-tone background. So I've got my little die cut pieces all embossed, ready to go, and I'm just going to glue them all down randomly on my card panel. And I want them obviously overlapping the edges so that it looks nice and flowing rather than kind of all squished into the middle of the panel. So I'm just going to glue every single one of those down, and then I do actually have to make a second sheet because I kind of ran out of enough of my flowers. But bear in mind, if you get quite low, you can always take your edges that are hanging over, cut those off, and use those to fill in your gaps as well. I just didn't have enough in total, so I'm just going to go ahead, cut those last little bits off, and then fill those little gaps in with those pieces, but I did have to make that extra little bit of embossing and punching again. So that's my panel ready to rock and roll, and that only took maybe 10 minutes at the most, not long at all, but I've got this beautiful detailed background that's got texture and it's got details in it. It just looks really cute and pretty. This is also new. I spotted this on Craft Stash and purchased it this past week. I got really excited because I love frames and I love frames that come with outer frames. So these ones kind of have 4 of the same sorts of shape that you can layer up. So quite fun. And then there's tons of sentiments that can mix and match in between those, and then little image stamps and dies that match, which will be really fun, and I do use them on the cards as well. I was getting a bit bored again of some of the stuff I had in my stash, and I wanted some more sentiments, so I ended up finding this set and I really love it. So I used it on both my cards. Obviously use what you've got in your stash, have a look and see if you've got stuff that will suit. We're just looking for something that we can layer on top of our card as our little sentiment and our focal point. So I've stamped in black the happy birthday, then I've die cut out 2 butterflies, and I'm just going to take the die cut pieces and pop them back in my stamp platform. It makes it so much easier to stamp my little die cut if I do it this way around. So I line my stamp up, which I pop just in the die cut hole. It slides in really nice, and you know you've got it perfectly central because you can see straight through it. Then you can put your die cut in, and stamp on top of that die cut, and it comes out perfect every time. This is a trick and tip I learned from Jennifer Maguire a few years back, and it is such a good one. It works really well for getting those die cuts beautifully stamped and positioned correctly. So I've done the butterflies, I've got my vellum background bit cut out, and I've got a piece of vanilla cardstock, and I'm just going to take a stamp block and lay it on top of my sentiment when I'm waiting for it to dry, just because vellum can sometimes curl up a little bit when it's damp. Then I'm going to pop it up with some foam and stick that right in the middle of my card, and then I'm ready to decorate with my butterflies. Now the butterflies I didn't really want to add too much color to because I really liked the two tones of purple, so I decided not to add much more color to them. Instead, I've just added some shimmer. So I've got a shimmer pen here, and I'm going to go ahead and fill it all in, and I'm trying really hard to avoid my black lines because I didn't want the black lines to be shiny, but I wanted the butterfly itself to be shiny. Little small details are totally insignificant. You could just paint the whole thing, it wouldn't matter. Now I'm going to stick them down over my sentiment, and I'm being careful to apply glue to the bit that's going to touch the sentiment, and then some foam stickers to the bit that's going to hang off, because I did use foam stickers to pop it up. This is my Pick Me Up tool. It is a chopstick with some blue tack on the end, and it works a dream. It is really dead simple and easy to use. The blue tack sticks really nice to my chopstick, so I really like that it doesn't wiggle around or slide off like it did on my stylus when I used to use a stylus. So I'm sticking with the chopstick. It works really nicely. And then I just stick down my glue first and my little flat back gems second. And they're from Alina's shop. I'll link those gems down below. They are my favorite. Now for my second panel, if you've not got an embossing folder, or maybe you don't have a die cutting machine, this works well for you. So you can take a piece of scrap card in the same color as your base. So again, we're going for tone on tone. And what we're going to do is stamp down a nice big background image. If you don't have a big background image, any little small stamps will do. So those little annoying stamps that come in your packages with your free magazine, those kind of stamps, just stamp them a whole bunch of times on a background and you will have a brilliant background for what we're doing. So this is like a bubble stamp, and it's hard to see, but it's got lines through the bubbles, so it's got lots of sort of texture and pattern on it, so I really like it. So I'm just going to stamp it down a couple times with a dark purple ink, very similar to the color of cardstock. This time I am using a different style of punch, and this is sort of just a circular scalloped punch, and I'm going to go ahead and do the exact same thing and punch a whole bunch of them out. And then I do the same. I glue them all down randomly and cut off the excess and glue that excess back onto the sides that are missing bits. And we get this gorgeous background again with very little effort, and it didn't take very long. So two great ways that you can fill a background up that's got texture, dimension, character to them, and they're really simple and quick to do. So whether you have a die cutting machine which does embossing or not, you could do this card. Now this is my strips jar. If you notice, it's looking a little naked. My daughter and her friend watched my video on using strips on cards, and then she came and got my jar and they went to town. I think they made 4 or 5 cards each, and they completely depleted my stash of strips. So that's more than okay. I'm really pleased they had such a good time. But it does mean I've got to keep building up my strips jar. So I've got more to use with you guys. I went ahead and cut myself some little strips in the end of this holographic card, which I'll link down below. I get it from a really awesome UK seller. And you get lots in their bundles. I think you get like 50 sheets. It's a really good cracking price. So I went and cut those strips because I didn't have any, because the kids, the girls thought it was the coolest color. So I think they used it all up. Now I've got these hexagons, and I'm just checking which one will fit my sentiment best. I really wanted that big happy birthday, so it meant that I had to just switch up my dies and go for the slightly larger outer die. I also wanted to use up those balloons, so I colored them in with my Arteza glitter pens. These are the super glitter pens. I'm not sure if they're in stock anymore or not. If I can find them, I'll put them down for you. And I just colored in those balloons and attached my sentiment. So 2 really quick and easy ways to make really fun backgrounds that you should be able to do with whatever you've got in your stash in your craft room. Hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I can't wait to see you again next week. Take care. Bye.